And then there's the public broadcasting communists on PBC. All indoctrinating, all propagandizing, none of them telling you the truth. And then there's Hollywood. Libraries. Have you noticed that certain books are disappearing from the libraries of the nation and from the Library of Congress? Clubs, societies, especially the secret and fraternal orders, and other agencies of mass communication dominated by the order of Illuminati. You don't have to take my word, folks. You don't have to take my word. In fact, I admonish you not to. Listen to everyone, read everything, believe absolutely nothing unless you can prove it in your own investigations. If you really believe what has happened to this country has happened by accident, then you're playing poker, folks. With no cards. Adam Weishaupt was also the reviver of the most forceful forms of brainwashing made familiar to the world by the cavalry, the Inquisition, the Gestapo, the OGPU, the NKVD, the Black Hand, in the form of his terroristic espionage organization known as the Insinuating Brothers, symbolized by the pyramid-mounted eye, known today as the Order of Illuminati. Weishaupt wrote, and I quote, "It is also necessary to gain the common people to our order. The great means to do that end is influence in the schools," end quote. He required of his followers that they yield themselves with perfect docility to our molding hands. It is interesting, ladies and gentlemen, to note that the entire occasional letter number 1, issued in 1904 by John D. Rockefeller and Reverend Frederick Gates, his almoner, as a statement of the purposes of their philanthropy. The General Education Board is virtually paraphrased from the writings of Adam Weishaupt. Both held to the premise, quote, "Man is the most contemptible of all animals, because it is the only animal that can be induced to destroy itself," end quote. He said this, he wrote it. That's what he thinks of you. They think you are stupid sheep animals, ripe for the plucking. And since you are going to fall prey to someone, why not to them? Weishaupt dared to go one step further than his followers. He openly expressed his contempt and openly reveled in the despicable stupidity of his brainwashed followers. And he wrote this, quote, the most admirable thing of all is that the great Protestant and Reformed theologians who belong to our order see in it the true and genuine mind of the Christian religion. Oh, man, what can you not be led to believe, end quote. Most people don't know that Martin Luther wore as a ring, which was his official seal, the rose and cross, which was another extension of Weishaupt's Order of the Illuminati. Weishaupt demanded blind and abject adherence to the order's party line as dictated by himself, and only himself, through all its deviousness, lies, contradictions, falseness, and deceit, complete acceptance of mental warping and brainwashing, and unquestioning physical submission. Any follower who questioned or resisted his dictates, or who failed in abject submission, was purged, or disappeared, or was found murdered somewhere. He had no scruples about saying that he sought to lure dupes into his order, and he wrote, quote, "These people swell our numbers and fill our treasury. Get busy and make these folks nibble at our bait, but do not tell them our secrets. They are not to be admitted to the secret degrees and knowledge of the conspiracy to enslave them, the true purpose of the order. They must be made to believe that the low degree, that they have reached is the highest, end quote. And that is what many master masons of the Blue Lodge sincerely believe. They have been duped. And no wonder anyone who would join an organization which they know nothing about and are told in the beginning they can know nothing about until they've gone through the initiation process and up the ladder of the several degrees is a fool to begin with. And then they sit there thinking that they know it all, parroting that there is no conspiracy. How would they know? How would they know when they're on the very bottom rung of the ladder believing that they are at the top? Amazing, isn't it? How you can destroy men with a little mysticism and the promise of a secret that they never, ever obtain, except for a very few who are nurtured and watched and tested for loyalty and belief, who are helped up the ladder by their mentors until they get to the top and find out that, lo and behold, there is no secret except the secret of how to hold out the carrot of a secret to entice and control others. They don't have any secret, folks. The purpose of life is to live it. And if you're looking for any other reason for living, you're going to spend your life chasing your tail and going around in circles. There is no other reason. The purpose of life is to live it in and of itself. And you can make it a good life or a bad life, whatever you determine you wish to do with it. It is your life. But if you want to waste it trying to look for some mystical purpose of your existence, you are doomed, because there isn't any. It's like living in California and your TV doesn't work, so you take a trip to New York City to find out why, when all you had to do was look behind it, pick up the plug and stick it in the wall. It would be difficult, ladies and gentlemen, to express more concisely the objectives of Weishaupt's conspiracy in the field of educational propaganda than was done in the occasional letter number 1 of Rockefeller's General Education Board. It reads as follows, and I quote, "In our dreams we have limitless resources, and the people yield themselves with perfect docility to our molding hands. The present educational conventions fade from our minds, and unhampered by tradition, we work our own goodwill upon a grateful and responsive rural folk. We shall not try to make these people or any of their children into philosophers or men of learning or of science. We have not to raise up from among them authors, editors, poets, or men of letters. We shall not search for embryo great artists, painters, musicians, nor lawyers, doctors, preachers, politicians, statesmen, of whom we have an ample supply. The task we set before ourselves is very simple as well as a very beautiful one, to train these people as we find them to a perfectly ideal life just where they are. So we will organize our children and teach them to do in a perfect way the things their fathers and mothers are doing in an imperfect way in the homes, in the shops, and on the farm." End quote.